Yeah, maybe Jack will show up. I don't know. Guess we'll hit a disclaimer anyway. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation today intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. Not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. You might lose money trading them. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. Jack and I don't pretend to be one here on Market Masters. So be careful. You might lose money. Hey, Jack.
Hey.
He's here and then he's gone.
Chaos out front. These turkeys come around this cabin. There's like 5 of them, and the dogs
Yeah.
see them. The ranch dogs see them, and they just go absolutely crazy, chase them, but they can't ever catch a turkey, man. That thing just takes off flying and going nuts. Damn near tore the front door off the cabin.
Yeah. Well, I had some wild turkeys up by my house I guess it was last Thursday, maybe.
They're really cool. I got a couple of them trained to come up on the front patio in the morning. I put all kind of bird seed out there for them. They love it. They're like right 3 feet, 2 feet from me. My next trick is to get the big guy to come in the cabin and hop right into the oven.
You need to put some of that bird seed on one of those hooks you got there and just reel them in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're beautiful. They're awesome. You got them in Boston, James says. Yeah.
They've
Very.
made a comeback across most of the country. For a long time, wild turkeys weren't really. I mean, my dad says back when he was a kid, they used to hunt anything. Like he said, you couldn't find one.
Right. They're everywhere here now.
All right. So, welcome to the markets yet again. Grinding higher.
Another beautiful day. Yeah.
How was the fishing this weekend after that snow last week?
Yeah, it was unbelievable, man. I can't tell you. It's chilly. This is like there's a canyon over here, so the sun kind of comes up late and goes down early. Other than it being cold in there, it's been amazing.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I Saturday morning, my neighbor's like, "Hey, did you see your well house?" And I go out and look at my well house, and it's concrete blocks laying all over the ground. I'm like, "What the heck happened?" They're like, "Come on down, we'll tell you about it." And then they're like, "Your other neighbor, their mowing service came onto your property, backed up, smashed into your well house, crushed it, drove off, left." I was like, "Beautiful."
Wow. They didn't even leave you a note or nothing. What do you do about that?
Yeah, I called the local police and they told me just to call my insurance company and deal with it, and they weren't even going to come out. I was like, "This is a hit and run, isn't that like a a big thing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, since you don't know the name of anybody that did it, there's not much we can do." I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Yeah, there's a lot you can do. But anyway, we'll talk about that after the show.
My insurance company's like, "You got a witness? All right, we're gonna press charges."
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Crazy.
But that's probably gonna be like 5, 6 grand to rebuild that thing. I don't know. Man, they just completely demolished it. Like literally, like there's a whole wall laying out in the ground, like smashed up.
I
I'm just
believe
like,
they would drive off. That like they know it was them. you know?
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Some people's kids.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Anyway,
Well, Bitcoin crash over the weekend.
it did dip a little lower, but coming back strong here today. Nice big. I mean, on this chart, you don't even see the dip over the weekend right here.
Mm-mm. I'm still out the 63 put.
I just sold a 66 call against my 100 shares for tomorrow. They have end of the month expirations, I guess. So I sold that for like $20. We'll see if I get an extra $20 and then I can turn around and sell Fridays again. So
Yeah, yeah, it's been
seemed
amazing
like,
on options.
seemed like a quick little burn there to sell that 66 against my 100 shares at 64.50. Even if I get called out, no big deal. My cost is all the way down here at 59 right now. So I won't miss it too much. I'll just probably get back in.
Mhm. That was big.
Dollar Tree. Look at this thing though. Whew. I got put the shares finally, and we take a big dip this morning.
Where'd
Right
you go?
down. I was at 100 strike, so I've been riding this 100 strike for a couple weeks now,
Yeah,
and my cost is only at 90. It's like 96 right down here, so I'm
good.
not even that far underwater.
Have you sold calls against this yet?
Not yet, since this is I got put over the weekend, and then this is the first candle I'm dealing
Oh,
with.
okay.
So I want to up candle at least so I can get a little more premium.
Yeah. I got a ton of premium this morning on Hood,
Yeah,
the
that had a nice pop this morning.
120 put for 660.
Nice. That thing's coming up into that resistance though. I'll be watching that 140 area right up there.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch though. This thing really started making its move like in the 50s and 60s. So I'm good there. But yeah, I want to add a little more to the position, and I would love to bring some in at 120. But think about this, to get $6.60, right? So that if I did get it at 120, my cost would be 120 minus 660.
Yeah, it gets to be kind of wild, actually, when you think
That's
about it.
for 7th,
So you out to Halloween with that one?
November 7.
November. Moving out another week on me here.
Yeah.
So you like to stay about 6 weeks out? You were saying before you like that month out, but now
Yeah,
you
I
seem
like
to.
a month, but this one just fell better for me. I won't be able to bring in cash flow in October because I stretched that out to November, but that's okay for this one.
So you're all the way down here at 120. Yeah, it's still going for 660 basically.
Yeah. That's fat, man. That on margin, that's 28.3%.
That's pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Definitely pretty juicy.
Yeah, without touching a stock. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, that's true, Sledge. They probably didn't have any IDs either. That's probably why they left without leaving a note.
Yeah, no notes, nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, I sold at the monies on Friday on this baby for this Friday. Last Friday I sold them. It was at 1950 at the money. You got like almost 80 cents a contract.
Nice.
And Tesla is moving up. I think it's going to keep moving up right into earnings coming up in 2 weeks.
Let's do
So
500.
it could very well. Like I saw somebody buy almost $6 million of 550 calls in one order, and that was what they paid. They paid 6 million
Damn,
for 550 calls,
when was
and
that
and
last week?
yeah, that was like last Friday, or
That's
maybe it's Thursday.
you know, from a market maker standpoint, that is a hard order to fill,
I'm
right?
sure, like, yeah, I mean,
Not
yeah, that'd
not
be
because of the money, but the number of contracts, uh, extremely difficult to fill an order like that. The thing's not going to hold still because uh, that many contracts on one order, if he wants that filled at the market, or a lot of times they're willing to pay over ask price. Uh, that's so hard to fill. The market maker probably have to
there. It is.
some of that to him.
There it is. I bet it.
What was
Uh,
the price he paid? Did it say?
uh, it- um, it's going to be on this January expiration. There were a ton of 500s, and then like a ton of
Yeah.
550s and 600s.
He's got a lot of room there to potentially cover for
I think it
himself.
was yeah, I think they transacted around $25, like 300 contracts or something like that. I mean, it was just insane amounts of money flying. And it wasn't just January though. It was I saw all sorts of
Now,
expirations.
when I see an order like that dollar amount, it makes me think somebody knows something. Because
Doesn't it? doesn't
There's
it?
been more leaked information than ever before on Wall Street. It's crazy how much info leaks. And I just wonder sometimes when I see, a normal order might be 100,000, 50, 200,000, 3, 400,000. You get up to 1 million, that's a big order. You get up to 6 million. Now, a guy's not going to do that unless he, in my opinion, it's a lock, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to risk $6 million? So whenever I see that, it doesn't necessarily make me want to buy the stock, but that's a huge conviction that that thing is going higher. People just don't risk 6 million, no matter how much they have.
Yeah, here's this 550 right here. Look at that. Somebody bought 10,000 contracts
Dang, that's
at
big.
550.
That's big.
And they paid $12 for it right there.
You got to know
Wow.
something. You wouldn't just do that speculation. A
And
guy
that's
might
that's
speculate
the November contract right there.
50 grand, 100 grand on a spec trade. That's no big deal. 6 million, that's not a spec trade. That's more than anybody can afford to lose. So they obviously know something. And based on that, a lot of people will see that order and they'll buy one or two calls following along, right? So
Yeah.
this is going to have some real price elasticity uh, around to earnings time. When is earnings, by the way?
2 weeks. It's coming up the 15th of October.
Hmm, crazy. Yeah, can you believe we're heading into the third quarter of 2025? I always say time flies, but this time it really is flying.
Yeah.
This, can't believe it. 2025 was a blur.
Yeah, it's been insane like how fast it's just like into the fourth quarter. We got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then we're in 2026. I mean, it's like what where did this year go?
I
And
know. It's flying fast. I'm gonna have my new grandson here at the end of the month of October or maybe early November. I can't wait. I haven't figured out what stock I'm gonna buy him for his birthday. Something. Maybe I'll get him a little Tesla.
better make it something good, right?
Yeah, something good, something you can learn from. He's got a dividend report due coming up in a few months, so he's gonna have to learn how to read and write real quick. He don't even know it. He's still in the oven. Don't even know what I got planned for him.
Yeah, I mean, somebody else bought another 5,000 contracts of that 550 for December. I mean, it's just big chunks of money at those
But
550
you're
straight.
looking at $100 up, you know?
Yeah.
That's that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's like 25% from here.
What's a
And
5-year high or all-time high on Tesla?
well, the all-time high was just right back here in December, right there.
That's the all-timer.
Yeah, that was the all-time high. It was what was it? 594, I think it was. Or
So
494, excuse me,
it's
494.
over that price. It gets anywhere near that price, and it's going to rip. And the single reason is because there's a lack of overhead supply. When no one owns the stock higher, 52-week highs are great. All-time highs are even better. There's this,
There it is.
it's gonna,
488.54.
yeah, that would be my breakout price. But you could be long here between here and there and not even really sweat it.
Ah, shoot, that's still $46 higher just to that.
Those options are so expensive, You just think if you're paying $12, it's got to move 24.
Yeah, that's why I was playing in this one, TSLL. I sold the 1950s on Friday, and here we are at 2050, 2080 this morning. I mean, and this one could rock and roll too. I
Right.
mean, with the 2x leverage, it could be up 50% pretty quickly. I mean, 30
This is
bucks.
this is the play here with Tesla. It really is. Tesla's moved up. This is up 0.72. Tesla's probably up about half that, right? Because this is a double long. And
Yeah.
with the price of 20 versus 430, you're going to get a way better bang for your buck. Now, would you ever go long and buy calls?
I am.
Ooh, oh, that's the double down,
I'm
double dog dare.
I am kind of bullet. I've sold puts. I've got some calls. I've got some. I got a lot of shares. You talk
So,
about being heavy in something. I'm a little heavy on this one. I feel like, but
how many you got?
I got upwards of 10,000 shares plus the
Damn,
puts.
wow, that's a lot.
I'm trying to make my money.
10,000 shares?
Yeah. Of course, that's across my mom's account, my dad's account, my wife's account. It's
So,
spread around, but
if this bad boy paid a dividend, you'd be in the catbird seat.
does
Uh,
pay a dividend. That's the not a big one, but it does pay a dividend.
yeah,
About
wow. Okay, there you go. That's even better.
pays about a 2% plus the calls and the puts and go
Yeah,
Tesla. That's what I'm talking about.
the beta on that.
3.7 or 3.67.
Yeah, that's amazing. So this has
So
everything you need for the Triple Crown, right? You can go
yeah.
along. It's 4-pointer. You can go along the stock, sell some calls against that, naked puts and credit spreads.
You know what got me super bullish on this?
Huh. Land.
I had shares back here and I sold some upside calls. And last week, my calls got called 2 weeks ahead.
Really?
That got me super bullish.
Yeah, that's a lot of times when that happens, that's not necessarily a retail trader doing it. That's either an institution, maybe even a brokerage firm, right? Someone's making a market in this, they can be long it. And whenever you get assigned like that ahead of time, that's a real strong. So they assigned you how far before expiration?
And so I owned the shares and had the calls, sold against it upside, and they called them 2 weeks ahead.
Wow. Somebody
So
somebody has to get something. You know this, did they just call them? When did that
yeah,
happen?
that was last Thursday. I got called out. Like,
See, that goes right in line with the big option buy on the Tesla stock,
yep.
right? There could be a massive accumulation going on underneath the surface of the water that we really don't see.
That's why I got a little more bullish on Tesla last week. After I got called out, I was like, something's fishy going on here.
How
And
about volume on this chart?
that
Look,
I don't usually trade volume, but we can pop it on here. It's nothing crazy on TSLO.
look at it.
Yeah, it's just kind of normal here.
Uh, Nothing too crazy.
Tesla itself, yeah, it's ramping up a little bit. It's a little more elevated than it has been for a couple months,
Uh,
but
Interesting.
nothing too crazy. But um, I watch a group called Cheddar on X. They specialize in watching unusual option flow. They actually sell a whole platform just for digging in and look at the historical option flows. And they said that the Tesla call buying that's going on right now is the biggest single stock above the money call buying that's ever taken place in the market.
Yeah, I got to be the only guy in the world that doesn't own Tesla. Or I don't know. I traded it maybe one time. The options, yeah, but the stock, no.
I,
It,
I own a whopping I think 6 shares of actual Tesla stock, and then everything else is TSLO. Well, I say that, but my dad has 100 shares that I've been selling upside calls against,
wow,
and
Rob Boyero, he cashed out of it for $16,873.50
yeah,
on a
and
debit spread. Rob, that $16,873, that's that's tax free. He did it in an IRA. Dog, that's
yeah,
all.
that's good work right there.
Buy a new car. Just keep it tucked, stack it and pack it, as Mrs. Jack likes to say. You know, can't show it off. That's a big trade, brother. That's a big trade.
Yeah, I've got mine sitting here with a 195 limit.
$16,873 profit on one on one on one debit spread on one stock. He says his boss says the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got You can see some of the, this is a very small position of the TSLL right here. And this cost basis is just totally wrong. But, it shows me upside down, but it's not at all. I've been selling puts and calls against it. And, um, it's going to be crazy profitable.
How do you like
But,
Tasty Trade versus Thinkorswim?
I mean, Thinkorswim's just got so much going on and it's just not clean, the
Yeah.
interface. I mean, one of my favorite things about this is when I want to do something like I just click on it right here. I can close position. If I wanted to, book out my calls at 50%, I just click the button and boom, there's the order for 50% profit.
You
Um,
see, this is a reflection of how well this was designed, and it could have only been designed by a trader or somebody that loves options, because
yeah, I mean,
it's lacking with everything else is they're not designed by traders. This guy Tom Sarsnoff or whatever his name is, he did a great job with Thinkorswim, and he did an even better job with Tasty Trade.
it's like if I want to close for profit, do I want to close one or do I want to close five? I mean, maybe I want to close for 100% profit. You just dial it in and click it, and boom, there's the order. I mean, it just
What do they
makes it so fast and easy.
what do they charge on a commission trade?
I don't even worry about it. Like it's so low that I mean it's competitive with everybody else, and I don't. It's not free, Robinhood. That's where I push the volume of options because it's no commissions, but I place the most volume of trades here because it's so fast and easy.
Mhm.
So,
Awesome. Do you know the Tesla dividend stock? Isn't that TSLL?
well, I mean, TSLL has a dividend. If you're talking about the Tesla, I would not touch this thing.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't touch that either. That pays out this Friday, I think Carol said. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a bad deal. These yield max things, man, they've turned out so much worse than people thought. I mean, even
I
if that
mean,
net asset value stayed kind of the same, that'd be one thing, but this is just getting demolished. I think it's
and
going to go out. I think of these things, some of these are going to be out of business. What's the high
look,
on this thing? 38, 50 to 9?
yeah, 30, yeah, 36, 37. Yeah. Oh, right there, the IPO, 42.
Ouch.
It's
42.
just it's just
Dang.
eroding and eroding and eroding and eroding. And they even have a reverse split in here, one, 2 for 1. So
That's happening
that
in Administrator because the strategy isn't working. It's basically calls, leverage, and uh,
from
it's
what
a
I understand, they're doing a synthetic stock, which means they don't even hold anything except options, and then they sell premium against those options.
that's right.
And it's not catching any of the upside, catching all of the downside,
Yeah.
and barely covering the dividend that they're trying to pay.
This is why I think it goes out. They're going to close. They might even close it down early, but according to their prospectus, this allows the investor to participate in the upside of the underlying stock, and that's not at all what is happening. In fact, they're using some of that net asset value to pay out that's not a dividend yield. That's a derivative yield. There's a
And
big
they're
difference.
basically and they're
Dividend.
basically paying you back the assets under management.
Yeah, yeah, and it's crazy, and they're charging a fee, good heavy duty fee on that, and yeah, that's a bad deal. It's not participating in the upside with the stock. None of these are. Yeah, that's
Thanks.
that's that's huge.
It's
1.04
highway robbery right there.
highway
One.
robbery. And if you look at it, it's not just Tesla. I mean, you can look at MSTY
Yeah.
and EDY. They both are just look at this, man. So again, they're advertising a yield of 366%. And I guess if you can handle watching it go from 45 to 10, you can get all that 366% you want. That's
And these
such
are
a
just
deal. I just cannot believe this yield max. And then look at NVDY. I mean, Nvidia's
I put
pumping on a new high at 184 today,
oop,
and
get
yet
my
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
this thing's down at 16. Yeah. Look at that, how devastating that pullback was.
Harsh.
And then
So
Nvidia is at all-time highs, but this is down here
yeah, I mean, if you can compare
at
that to Nvidia, you can see that the prospectus is a lie. Uh, you are not set up to participate. And I think they say that because they don't buy the stock, they buy a leap on the stock, a long-term equity option, and then they sell calls against that. So yeah, look at that. That's exactly the opposite of what the prospectus says, what they publicly state. You know, you could see a lawsuit coming up on this. You could see a closure. You could see a lot of it, a lot of problems. And I think Tidal Asset Management actually runs these funds for yield max. There could be all kind of problems. This is the stuff you don't see, right? Let's take a multi-billion dollar ETF company and watch the whole thing have to unwind almost every one of their funds. That would cause so much ripple through the market, it wouldn't even be funny. Yeah, look at that. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Universe fund of options income. Why, look at that. You lose 50% to get 67% dividend. So net you're up 17%. That's a terrible deal. Wouldn't that bug you to have a high yield and watch the thing go down? That would just drive me crazy. That's the definition of a yield trap right there. But I wouldn't be shocked to see this whole yield funds, yield max company be out of the business by the first quarter, second quarter next year. Wouldn't surprise me. And lawsuits. Wouldn't be surprised to see that either.
and you get these two, these covered call ETFs.
It's not doing anything. That dividend yield, you could get that in a month, what they're paying for a year. You
Yeah,
don't need.
12% a year. And we show time and time again just selling a put. You know, how we can get more than that.
Well, I think this one might pay weekly. Some of these that pay weekly or monthly, people just love it, right?
Yeah, this one's a monthly. I actually hold a few shares just to see on QYLD, RYLD, and XYLD.
Yeah, not worth it to me. Not worth it. The dividend yield 9.7% and the thing's down 20%. That
I mean,
that's why I
it's
say,
not, S&P is back up here at the all-time high, but this, like, it was devastating on the pullback. Like, they caught all the downside, none of the upside
yeah, and
recovering.
506 total holdings. That is way too much diversification. You don't need to be doing this on 500 companies. This is such a bad structure, such a bad deal for the investor. It's just, and I just want to empower everybody here. You can do better than a lot of pros. You can do better than a lot of companies, management. You can do it on your own. We're both here to show you how, and we're both actually doing it. So don't think you got to buy this crap just to get a monthly dividend. You can create your own. And again, it's not a dividend. It's derivative income, not dividend income. They shouldn't even list it as dividend income because it's not. The only way it could be a dividend is if it was paid out as a percentage of the profit the company made. That's not what this is. There is no dividend. It's derivative income. And that's not as solid as dividend income, right? Dividend is from profit. Derivative income is just from selling options. That's not necessarily even a profit.
These guys, they're required to pay out 90, whatever it is, percent of their income
92 and
to
a
be
half
a,
to
yeah,
be a,
92 and a half to be a real estate investment trust.
that's right. Now I own a ton of this one in my IRA. I would not own it in a regular account, I don't think. And the only reason is the hidden negative of a REIT is that unlike McDonald's that pays out what's considered a qualified dividend, Realty Income Corp as a REIT, it pays that out and that is taxed as ordinary income. So for me to have, my tax rate is 37% ordinary income. I'd rather have, at my tax rate, even my dividends are taxed at 20%, but that's still a lot less than 37%. So this works great in an IRA, tax-free account. That yield 5.36. That's awesome. But the way that dividend is taxed, really, I love REITs, man. I love the idea of a REIT, especially this one, because I don't know if you guys know a triple net REIT. That's one of the best businesses in the world. A triple net REIT means the tenant pays for everything. If lightning strikes the building, the tenant pays for the new roof. If there's a flood, the tenant pays. The actual REIT company itself that owns that asset, a triple net lease means that the tenant pays for every single thing, insurance, all of it. So as a business goes, this is great. This is like being a gigantic landlord. It's just that I'm paying more tax on this one than I would want to on a qualified dividend. But it's a good company. They named themselves the monthly dividend company. They were the first ones to do that. Realty Income Corp. So yeah, it's a good one.
A
Strong.
lot of people like this one too. American Tower.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's kind of like a real estate play itself, putting up the tower. They own the ground underneath it.
And I find this one's kind of a flight to safety too. Anytime there's a freak out in the market, it acts more as a flight to safety than even gold, I find. This one in particular. Like anytime there's a little uncertainty in the market, we usually get these big rips that happen in AMT. And the
That dividend,
dividend not super strong at 3.4, but
it's higher than the S&P rate.
yeah, I mean, but you can still go dump some money in T-bill
Yeah, I got a
and get
lot.
4.3.
I got a lot of that. That's probably my biggest position, if you want to call it that. No, that's not true. Nvidia is bigger than that.
And there's a different version, Bills. It's run by Spider, Bloomberg.
What was T-bill's yield?
T-bill, their yield 4.32.
That pays
Bills,
monthly. I reinvest that dividend, and you'd be shocked at how fast that thing can grow.
absolutely. And then other stuff that's, like public AAA rated bonds. If your local governments need to borrow some money,
That's a good one at five and a.
five and an eighth, basically.
I like that a lot.
And then AAA collateralized bonds, in companies, pay a little higher, 5.62. Right there. So lots of opportunities to get things that are pretty sound. This looks like a pretty vicious pullback, but until you realize that's only like $1. And it
Yeah.
recovered right back up in here. And while it's not back to all-time high, it is on the adjusted basis, it's just cruising higher.
Yeah, Carol says they say they're buying covered calls backed by U.S. Treasury bonds. I don't think so. Carol, I don't think there's any Treasury bonds in any of those yield max funds.
There might be un poquito, just a little bit, but
I don't think so. So an unqualified dividend is one that just does not meet the standard for a qualified dividend based upon the company's structure. Like Enterprise Products Partners, I don't think that one pays a qualified dividend, but that's a very important thing to look at. Uh, if you're into dividends, you want that qualified dividend because the tax rate is so much lower. So it's either going to be 15 or 20% if you're in a really high tax bracket. Taxable dividends, 15% for most people. That's the lowest tax rate you're going to get on a qualified dividend. So that's why I like those. Unqualified dividends are taxed as ordinary income, which for me is way too high.
there you go, Jack. They have 1% of the funds in those government obligation covered calls.
Ouch. A lot of stuff out there that isn't going to work. We've seen an explosion in ETFs. And there's an ETF literally for everything out there, and probably a bunch of them, but they're not all going to stick around.
Yeah, if you want to see the list of yield max, just pop up YMAX and look at their holdings, BABO, XOMO, Tesla, JPMO, GDXY. You know, the list just keeps going down through here. You want to see just how bad they are? Just go pull up the
Those
charts
guys,
for each one of these.
I don't know, how do you come into work every day when you're screwing up this bad? Well, you think you'd change.
Hey, they're making money because they're getting the fees. It doesn't matter what their performance is.
Well, the fees are going down because the assets under management are taking a tumble. I bet
Yeah,
there's problems here. I bet
I don't
people
know.
are failing on it too, so their fees are going to go down substantially.
But is the assets under management going down, or is because so many people on YouTube and other places are hyping these, the assets under management are actually climbing while they pay out the NAV into dividends? They keep pumping out more of these, so there's got to be demand some way, somehow. It's kind of crazy.
All they need is approval. Then they'll try to create the demand, but they'll throw anything. They'll make any ETF. Again, that's Wall Street. They don't create this product because they think it's good for you. They create this product because they think people will buy it. That's the only reason.
The YieldMax Universe Fund is an actively managed exchange traded fund that seeks to generate current income. It's a fund of funds, meaning it's primarily invests in assets, shares of other ETFs.
Yeah,
So it's a derivative of a derivative of a derivative.
yeah. Fund of funds. Yeah, a
Wow.
derivative of a derivative. Yeah, that's crazy. I knew a guy in the hedge fund business. He had his own hedge fund, but all he ever did when people poured in money was invested in other hedge funds. So it was like a fund of funds. The guy didn't do any work at all. Took 2% to manage the whole thing and just gave the money to other hedge funds.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
this brings up an interesting point. I've kind of watched and witnessed, you were around back in 2008, you've been in this game long enough, and the shenanigans that all these investment banks were playing in the background, doing leverage, derivative of derivatives. Doesn't all this stuff sound like the same stuff they were doing back then, except now they're using our money instead of their money
Yeah.
to do this?
Yeah. And that's why I say the risk of unwinding, that's one risk. These guys are sitting on way too much leverage across all these funds. I don't think they could get out of it. I don't think they could sell the calls they own or the leap. I just think that it's going to be extremely difficult to unwind it all. And so you got the same thing, with Lehman Brothers and everybody doing that stuff underneath the covers. And then when it all came to light, the net capital requirement wasn't there for those firms. And it'll be the same way here, but it won't be Wall Street firms like Lehman Brothers. It'll be these ETF companies. Way too much leverage. They are doing the exact same thing. They're just doing it with public money this time around. And it's not going to end up good.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I see is like I'm like, golly, with the explosion of these things, they're just using our money to do the same thing they've been doing for 20 years. It's like,
Bad, bad scene. I wish there was just some way to short all these things, but they're already so low. It's not even worth it.
and I'm sure that I'm quite certain that the put prices actually price out of any advantage of that making money. Again, they don't go out very far, and
There's no market for it. That's weird, that they don't pay anything.
yeah, yeah, there's no options market at all. Everybody's just holding shares. Kind of shows you the game that's being played here.
Poor bastards. That's I'm loving Hood though, man. Let's take another look at Hood for the good
Yeah.
folks who's tuning in. I've added to my position uh, more naked puts.
Oh, I gotta click the right expiration here for you.
If we look
November
at the
7th.
trend on this thing too, I love it.
And Jack sold, cash secured. Oh man, you're already up. Good chunk there. Sold that at 660.
Yep.
So what did you take on when you sold that put for 660?
I took on the obligation to have to buy the stock if it hits 120. If it doesn't hit 120, Uh, I don't have to do anything. I took on the obligation to stand in and buy at 120, 100 shares, and I got paid 660 to do that, which I think that is a stupidly high amount of money to pay a guy just to make a promise. That's all I did. I put a conditional order in and said, hey, if it gets down here, I'm willing to buy it, but I want to get paid for making a promise, which is the craziest business proposition in the world. I mean, imagine if out in the regular world you got paid to make promises.
Some people do.
I can't believe how this naked put market works, and you get paid up front. Like I say, you would think that you would only get paid the 660 at expiration if you were right at expiration on November 7th, right? But here it
Yeah.
is. You paid right up front. So you're hanging on to that money all the way through this trade. You got to give some back. You got to give some back. You got to give it all back. You give it all back, but you got it up front. You got paid up front. That's why I like income trades. I love to get paid to take the risk. I love to get paid to make a promise. I don't want to pay to take risk. I don't want to buy a stock. If it moves up or down a penny, I got all that risk, right? If I bought it at 131.80, I'd have all this risk. If I just say, hey, I don't want to buy the stock at 141.80, I'm willing to buy it at 140 at 120. And getting paid 660 is stupid. Stupid high money. Let's take a look at the trend too.
Yeah, what's crazy here though, like there's pretty much no call trade you can do where you get paid up front for this thing to stay above 120. I mean, and right now you are so far out of the money. I mean,
It's stupid.
you're down there almost $12 out of the money, getting paid 660 bucks.
I'll take it.
With
And I'll take the stock. If I get the stock, I will consider that it was gifted to me. I love this trend. A little lofty, but it's got good stuff behind it and just a really low uh, market valuation. This thing 117 billion, this thing could quadruple.
absolutely.
And
And you know, we look
I think their earnings are going to catch up to their offerings on the platform. They're doing all kind of things to get people to open an account and then keep the account there and offer more products, things they could trade, different platforms they could watch their performance. They can compare their performance to other people. There's leaderboard features on there. You could trade crypto. You could trade poly markets soon, sports, the whole 9 yards.
and Jack was out to November 7th on those. You know, the only red flag here to me is sitting at a 31 price to sales or just under a 31. That's the only little bit of red flag because if we hit any kind of hiccup in the market, this one will likely get hit harder than some of the other ones with the lower price to sales. And what that is that's 31 years of all of their sales to justify the current share price. Now they're growing like crazy, as Jack said. So this is priced for growth. It's not priced for perfection at this point. Other things are priced for perfection. This one's not. This one's just priced for growth. Uh, but that does present a risk if there was any kind of systemic hiccup in the market in the short term.
Yeah, that beta at 3.23, that's over three times as volatile as the broad market. But if you look at the trend, you would think that if it had a beta like that, it'd just be a lot of ups and downs. This is mostly ups.
It just it's a big rip. It's like since back here in April. In April, it sold out. Didn't sell out nearly as bad as most of the rest of the market, and then it's been on a straight friggin' up rip.
I'm loving it.
And yeah, that's 330% up since April. So a little bit lofty, but
Lofty. And then I got another one I'm biting on, ANET. I've added more Friday. That's super lofty, but it's kind
what'd
of
you do here?
still in a little bit.
What'd we do on that one, Jack?
We bought more stock and sold the 155s.
How far out?
I think Halloween.
Halloween. So you came in, bought stock at the money, and then sold the
I bought a
150.
little lower than this. Um, yeah, at the money. Just buy it at the market.
They sold these 150s up here.
55, yeah.
Nice fat premium up there.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not a
This-
bad sandwich. And I'll give you a heads up. I'm gonna really try, and I've been trying to do this now for a long time, is core weave. Core, what are you laughing about, core weave?
this chart looks pretty bad to me.
It looks
I
terrible,
just
but I want to get this thing down to where I can trade it, right? And I just I've been all over the place. The chart looks bad ever since that IPO. People hate the news on this thing.
I'd
Uh,
love to see it back down here at the IPO price, and
yeah,
then I might get kind of interested in it.
that's going to happen. Um, yeah, I got a little tiny bit of this, and I want to add to it. I think it's going to work these kinks out and make a nice rip uh, closer to 200. And
Yeah.
the other one I have that I want to see work is Circle.
And
I don't,
that needs to shake off this a nice dip below the IPO would be great here, I feel like.
I
If we
don't
could
know if
do
that's
that,
here either. It's just the story on this one is going to look a little bit better. It's just too cloudy. The future is way too cloudy right now, but I think as it clears up, this is going to be a good play. If it
yeah,
is, I'll sell it and take the loss, but I'm
oh,
nibbling, I'll nibble in here. I'll pick up 10, 50, 60, just nibbling away, trying to get up a couple hundred shares to where I could sell calls and then add to that by selling some naked puts. But I love this one, and that beta is looking good. The trend looks terrible. The story could be okay, and that's what I'm counting on. I think this one's gonna, yeah.
and for me, I don't know if you knew this statistic, Jack, but 95% of stuff that does an IPO starts out in a bearish pattern and actually makes a low lower than the IPO price. 95%. So I'm just gonna kind of bide my time and wait for it to kind of come back down, maybe make a bottom, and then I'll probably look for opportunity on both Circle and Core Weave.
Yeah, that's the problem for me is and the opportunity. The problem is that there's not enough trend data or just daily data, right? That looks
Yeah.
terrible. There's no reason to buy this other than I think the future is going to look good. And if it doesn't get any lower, uh, that first bounce up off that straight up downtrend there, that first little tick up there, I like that. Not
You
that
see
one, further close to that one.
this one down here?
Yeah, and then see it went down a tiny bit again, then back up to 135. So I'm never going to try to predict a bottom. I don't buy at the bottom and sell at the top. I don't know anybody that can do that except for Jeffrey. Uh, can't do it.
I get lucky sometimes. I don't
I'm
know.
just going to nibble my way in.
So, the problem with IPOs, a lot of people don't get this, is we don't know if the valuation was coming down into the IPO or if it was coming up into the IPO because we don't have the chart over here. We don't actually see it. Now, they'll tell you whatever that it was always climbing, going higher, but we don't know if it reached some peak over here in private equity and then actually dipped down and then they're trying to unlock that private equity and catch that before it, comes down here and finds a real value and then starts building from there. Plus, as Jack, you always talk about the jockeys are unproven on a new IPO.
Yeah, this is a nice looking horse, but I don't know how this jockey can ride it. And the other thing that gets mixed up in here, these things are really cloudy after an IPO. First thing is, if the stock jumps higher than the IPO price, then the company got ripped off because they obviously could have raised more money at a higher price. If it's too low, and the thing goes down, then the company made out like a bandit and the public got ripped off. But when you add one more element to this, which is difficult, is that there's times when the insider's lockup ends, and that's something people don't really read about, but there's a ton of stock that becomes for sale, and insiders, when it's higher than the IPO, they're really going to cash out, and they should. People criticize new insiders for selling their new stock, but you got to think maybe these guys have been in it 5 or 10 years waiting for the day that they could get liquid. And so now that they can get liquid and they are liquid, if they all sell all their stock, it sounds like bad news, but that's really good news for shareholders, because that there's not going to be a wave of supply coming down the road. Like a 144 rule, 144 lockup period ends, everybody bails. Well, if they've already bailed, that's one cloudy issue that you could take out of the equation. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
I mean, on a lot of these IPOs and startups, people get paid with that stock with the hope and future of being able to sell it to the market and actually get some of their compensation. So they've been sitting on, years worth of compensation, some of these people.
5, 10 years, yeah, and they haven't gotten any paid anything, maybe a small salary, but the bulk of their compensation is going to come when they can get liquid on their stock, and that might have happened. Let's take a quick look for SM wants to see GM,
Yeah,
but I gotta
GM.
want you guys to know I'm going to go after Circle and CoreWeave. That's looking a bit lofty, but not terrible.
On the big long-term picture here, we could be working on a breakout. We're higher than this high back in November. We do still have the kind of quadruple top sitting up here around 64, 65. We're at top tier, top tier, top tier, top tier, and then gave it up. If we can get through that, 72, 77, maybe even up to 90 would be possible.
Car makers aren't my thing. I never traded Ford or GM ever. I'm just not into it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of opinion here. I'm just, technical analysis wise, we're starting to be in the breakout zone, confirming that we potentially can climb higher.
Rose wants to see BLSH. I don't know what
Not a
that
lot,
is. What is
not a
that?
lot to this. Package software. Yeah, when there's so little candles here, there's not much to, and that is starting out very bearish. As I said, 95% of this looks like an IPO.
Yeah,
Doesn't have
you
the
are.
little dinosaur over here, but it does look like an IPO.
Yeah.
Engages in the management of digital asset platforms. So it's going to be some kind of treasury, crypto treasury type thing. And yeah,
I don't
not
th-
not really.
I don't think Carol says the market going to be down because of the shutdown. I don't think so.
Historically, that I mean, maybe we get a hiccup, but yeah, bullish is right here as the number 5 holder of Bitcoin as far as Bitcoin treasury companies go.
Yeah. Now, Pete L has a unusual request. He says, Jack, don't give away all your best picks because my fiance and I are on a 12-day cruise out of New York. I'm going to miss you, Jack. You the man, Pete L. I won't give away all my best picks. I'm only going to give away all my best picks like I normally do for the next 12 days. I won't give out any after days. And our good man Steven wants to see NVS.
Envious.
Pete L, you got to be doing good though to be taking a 12-day cruise, my man. That's all I can be saying. Right. And I'll have plenty more for you when you get back. I never run out of good stuff.
Yeah, the market's a waterfall of opportunity every single
That's what
day.
it is.
It's never ending
What?
waterfall of opportunity.
They have any of that fat drug?
This is Novartis. They're not, I don't think they're playing in that realm. Let's see what they've got.
Eater Lipke figures. I thought they
Let's
had some fat.
see. Now you're thinking of NVO. NVO is a competitor with Lilly, but this is NVS. NVO took a spill today. They're a competitor. Snora Novadisk. their competitor, but MVS, Novartis, same industry, different plan here. Trying to launch a direct-to-patient platform.
Bad idea, man. Bypassing these doctors. You can get all kind of erection pills and everything without seeing a doctor online now. I don't know about all this, straight from the no doctor straight to your mailbox.
Yeah, I don't know. Hims is the kind of the leader in that sector, and they're set for another pop.
What if somebody dies?
And
You can lie on that platform and say, I don't have any heart issues. Give me a hearty dose of, an ED pill, and then you're dead from it. And he said, well, Hims gave it to me without me seeing a doctor.
what's funny is they've got the blue pill and they got the yellow pill, and now I've seen that people like Hims or companies like Hims are mixing both together and making a green pill. Get you a little bit of both, in case one of either doesn't work for you, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, here's all of it. Bad idea, folks. I don't know about that.
But I don't know what NVS does really even. I don't really care, but could it go higher? Sure. Has it kind of topped out potentially right now? Yeah, it has the potential to come back and revisit my orange roadmap line down here, kind of retesting this breakout zone in here.
Yeah, Steven says NVS pays steady dividend, but selling calls has not been great. Yeah, that's an issue. But you're
And,
getting some
and,
price appreciation.
and part of the problem when you look at the beta right here,
You're not going to get an option price there, Rob, on net with a beta like that.
and that's why it doesn't have much premium, because it's kind of like the S&P. It's just not doing a whole lot.
But he's
So
now saying his average cost is 70 a share. So
yeah,
just
if you're way down there off the bottom of the chart, what are you complaining about?
if the covered calls aren't good, you can always go further out, 6 months out, something like that. You're still going to get a nice dividend here. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
got a cost basis of 70, I wouldn't get out of it.
Now, I like to on something that's like this. I have to think back to my Red Hat days on the big ups. That's where I used to pop out here
Yeah.
6 months, a year, and sell something even ridiculously higher on the call side. And then when it pulled back, I'd close that thing out and just sit on that profit and wait for another rip.
Yeah.
So,
That's
um,
called trading the calls. That's a really great strategy. You're doing it on longer term options. That's awesome. Yeah, sell them, let time decay take some of the price out of it, buy it back.
now
And if you
you
sell a
kind of
call for a dollar, if you sell a call for a dollar and you buy it back at 50 cents, you just made 50%, really, without doing anything. That's why I love selling calls like that. He's been going three
so
months out. That's perfect.
so you'd wait for the next run up, and then the next dip, you'd buy them back. So you'd sell them up here. You want to sell on the highs and buy them back on the lows if you're trying to do upside calls. Selling upside calls down here, then you run the risk of getting called out and then wrecking then you have to book your 70 up to 130, your $60 profits. You got to book that out, pay taxes, or, if you're in a retirement account, doesn't matter, I guess. But then you're kind of starting over with a new cost basis to get back in. So risk and reward. You got to always make the decision.
Yeah. And I got something really great that you could make a decision about. So if you want to let me share the screen,
Yeah, man. I heard you got something to talk to us about.
I do. If I could find it.
Another income opportunity.
It's gonna be good, man. I think it's gonna be a good one.